On today's episode of the CLS Experience, we have a very exclusive treat. She's a dynamic and trailblazing CEO of one of the most respected virtual staffing companies on the planet, Belay, where she's revolutionizing the way modern businesses scale and thrive through elite level delegation and world-class support. Big facts. She's a celebrated author and she's a multifaceted speaker who's equipping leaders to reclaim their time and operate in their zone of genius, which I absolutely love. Her brilliant leadership helped skyrocket Belay onto the Inc. 5000 list an astonishing 10 times, no big deal. She's a bold voice in the future of work, redefining what it means to be a limitless leader and mentoring others to do more by doing less with radical intention. And she embodies work-life integration, which I totally connect to. She's just a juggernaut in all facets of life and a terrific human being. Please welcome the intentional, bold, big thinking, and abundantly soulful Tricia Sciortino. How you doing, Tricia?
Hey Craig, yeah, thanks for the intro. I'm so excited to talk to you today. I got,
Did
I
you,
got, I got big shoes to fill.
a little bit of a build up there.
Big buildup, yeah.
I like to come in hot. I'm
I
so
love it.
pumped. Yeah, and also I got to bring that East Coast swagger to you a little bit, even though you don't live, well, you are technically on the East Coast, but not over here anymore. So got to make sure that you feel that energy.
I love it. I miss it.
Yeah, totally. This is a really special episode. I'm really pumped about it because I just want to say, guys, for the audience and the community, before we dive in today, I want to just take a moment, share something personal. When I first left Wall Street and became an entrepreneur, I had very big ideas, big energy, and big goals. But like so many entrepreneurs, and we're going to get into this today, I found myself trying to do everything, every task, every email, every moving part. I was drowning in the business instead of building it. And I actually tried a few virtual assistant companies early on. And to be honest, the experience was a little bit underwhelming. It made me even question whether high level virtual support even existed. But then I got connected with you guys at Belay, and it was a game changer for me, and everything began to evolve. And from day one, it just felt different. I was matched with top tier talent that didn't just check boxes, but they took ownership. They were able to match my desire in other areas that I needed support in. And so for anyone out there, and our audience is big, and there's a lot of either entrepreneurs or people that have their own business and so forth, for anybody out there trying to scale, wearing 25 hats like I was, you do not have to do it alone. I'm very intentional with who we endorse, and this isn't just a partnership, but it's something I actually use and I believe in big time. And so we set up a link in our show notes. If you're even thinking about getting support, I would just encourage you, just check it out and hire smart and buy back your time. And you can thank me later. And that was kind of a long-winded intro, and I'm beyond excited to welcome the incredible CEO of Belay, Tricia, to the show. How you doing, Tricia?
Hi Craig. I'm doing amazing. I love your story, actually. I love your story.
Yeah. And it's funny because I had this mentality, almost like a badge of honor, that I could do it all. Like, who's gonna wake up and do it better than me, or who's gonna be as into it as I am? And I guess it was tied to a little bit of ego. And once I was able to elevate my level of consciousness and awareness to realize that that can only get you so far. And when I was connected with you guys, it wasn't only I got help in other areas, but you guys actually brought ideas and things to the table that I wasn't even aware of. And the business was really able to go to a totally different level, which meant we can then help so many more people. So I'm really pumped about this conversation. And because I know what I experienced, and entrepreneurship is very popular these days, or even just if you have your own business, there's so much to benefit from being able to just change your mindset to realize that you don't have to do everything alone. And I know that's very important to you as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel like your journey was my journey. I used to be the same exact way, and I think a lot of clients, business owners, executives that we have seen, through our doors here at Belay, the story is so similar, just resonates. It's on repeat, truly. I was the same way. I didn't own my own business, but I had something to prove. I felt like I could do everything. I thought that the more I took on, the more work I did, the more I hustled, the more I outworked other people, that it would reward me. And that is true for a season of time. I think for all of us, there's a season of time where you are truly proving yourself, whether it's to others or to your point, to yourself. It's a lot of ego. Um, till you get to the point where there's a trigger moment and your mindset changes. And I think for everybody, it could be a different thing that hits, but where you really do hit a wall and realize that what you're doing is makes no sense. Like you're burning yourself out. In your mind, like these great companies that you aspire to be, or these great leaders you aspire to be like, or this company you want to build, it's never going to be a company with one person in it. But somehow you think you should still be the one person doing everything. And then hopefully, to your point, like there's a mindset shift that happens where you recognize and you realize like I really shouldn't do it alone. And by the way, I think I'm great at everything and I might care the most, but there's actually people out there that do things better than me. And when you add that together, like that's a multiplier. And so like really recognizing like what your weaknesses are and surrounding yourself with people who are that. And then it just amplifies what you're awesome at. And you can just go do more of that. And then that's how you grow. That's how you grow businesses.
Totally. Yeah, you nailed it. And we're going to get into all this stuff, how Belay can help, how it's helped me, and also your story as well. But I just wanted to ask you a little icebreaker before we get going. For someone that's built such a massive business, making such an impact, there's got to be a connection there. How important is it for you to be connected to your mission?
Crucial, crucially important that I'm connected to the mission. And, you know, uh, I feel like it'd be really hard to lose sight of what I was doing if I didn't actually have a grounding purpose behind all the decisions that I'm making. So I think it's so crucial. And I think it's crucial not only for business owners and founders and CEOs, but, you know, for as many people as possible that you get to work inside your organization.
Love it. I imagine there's a question going on in everybody's mind right now. Who is Belay for? Kind of a big question. But maybe you can help articulate that a little better for someone listening, like, oh, I'm on the fence. Do I really need help? And just clarify exactly who can benefit from partnering with you guys in some capacity.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's people will often ask me, how do I know I'm ready for a virtual assistant? I'm premature, I'm haven't hit X revenue or whatever that is, and um, I just disagree with that mindset. I think most people we come across, they've come here probably too late. They've come here because they're already, borderline burnout. So I think that people can recognize at some point that having help is an accelerator to growth. I've worked with a few different leaders. I used to be an EA, so I've been on the other side of this. I've worked with leaders who brought an EA on really early so that they could grow the company, right? And so that mindset, that flipping that switch upside down has been, I've watched it serve so many companies and so many leaders so well that when you change the thinking of like this is a cost center and when can I burden the cost of hiring this person versus no, I can't afford not to bring somebody on because I actually need to be selling and growing this business. I have no business like getting buried in a calendar invite situation and all this administrative work. So we're for every leader who wants to grow. We're for high impact leaders who have a lot they want to get done. We're for people who believe that they can grow their business and they don't want to sacrifice their life, their family, their loved ones, their well being. You want to grow an organization, but still have time for what matters most,
Sure.
and not be all consumed into your life.
Yeah.
We're for leaders who believe that starting a business and being a business owner is freedom. And the reason you did it is to have freedom, but somehow you don't feel very free, and you're buried by it. And so we're here to relieve people and give them the freedom, and make an impact in businesses and people's lives.
A lot of entrepreneurs think that they built themselves a business, but what they really create is a very high paying job that they
Yeah.
can get away from it. And I know I experienced a little bit of that. I want to get inside your consciousness for a second because you mentioned that you used to be an EA. How did you go from being an EA to starting and growing this massive company? Like, what was the mindset shift from that? Because those are two different seasons, two different outlooks.
Yeah. I mean, it's, it was a bit of a building process. So I think I'm organically wired to I love work. I love sick to say, right? I love my work. And maybe that's because, like we talked about earlier, like I really believe in whatever, if I'm behind a mission of something, like I love it. And I love taking something broken or challenging or um, messy and creating it into something better, more solution oriented. Like I love the messiness of things and bringing things onto the other side, whether it's processes or people or all that stuff. Like I just love figuring out solving a good problem. So that's a great skill for an EA, like a messy inbox and you can organize it, or a messy calendar and you can organize it. And you're always looking for ways to create processes inside people's lives so that they can have freedom. But it also translated into growing a business transparently, so I originally became, I originally through a series of promotions wound up being, vice president of operations and the chief operating officer for many years, because I believe in creating processes for things that are repeatable so that there's less chance of error. It creates ease for, your team, your clients, everybody you're working with, and that everybody has a similar experience, especially your client, but also your team members. So I believe in systems and processes, and I feel like, best practices, like that mindset always worked really well for me. So I was, a diehard operator for many, many years, but I knew if I ever wanted to be the CEO of the organization, that was going to have to change, because operations are good and they run a good business, but a CEO is a lot about strategy and vision and people leadership. And can you really assemble the right people around you to drive an organization forward? It's a different skill set. And so I wasn't sure for a season of time that it was going to be, transparently, that I would do a great job. A lot of imposter syndrome, but somehow I wanted to try, and I do feel like it could be learned. And so, like, people will ask me, do you think an operator can learn to be a visionary and vice versa? Do you think a visionary can learn to be an operator? And I say, yes, I actually do think you can, if you have discipline and if you're consistent in teaching yourself new things. And so, like today, as CEO of a 9-figure business, I've learned to cast vision, hire great talent. I learned how to lead and hire everything from an officer down to an EA, because I had to, and I have to know how to cast vision for the company, and I have to know what it means to have great culture and how to be an advocate of great culture. But I also know I want a well-oiled machine running in the background at the same time, and those two things go hand in hand. And so those have been the things that have, you know, propelled me to the position that I'm in. And transparently, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the act and the art of delegating. Because even at early beginnings of my career, I was given an EA when I was a manager. They wanted me to have an EA. And so, because it was teaching us, first of all, we're practicing what we preach. Everybody here who leads anything here has an EA in our entire company, because we believe that leaders are meant to lead, not do administrative work. And so we want to get the best out of people. And so I learned really early on what it meant to delegate. And I was the recipient of delegation as well. And so the founders who exited the company 5 years ago, they delegated basically over 8 years, 10 years, they delegated the entire company to me. If you think about it, they gave me ownership of total departments and then multiple departments. And then they gave me all the operations, and then I was CEO, and right? Like, the biggest act of delegation is like the biggest gift. Like, we're going to give you full responsibility of this company that we've created, which is a crazy gift. And so I'm just paying it forward.
I love it. And I love that you mentioned, like, can one become the other? It's skill sets that can be developed. That there's a desire and a willingness. You mentioned work
Yeah.
discipline and consistency, always important. This is amazing. So, a couple questions that I imagine some people that are like our, in our community and so forth probably want to know. So, how do you guys hire your staff? How do you vet them?
Oh, yeah. We have a pretty robust process that we're hiring through. It's a multiple step process. So we're really, really, I mean, we are just honored by the fact that we typically receive 8,000 plus applicants a month
Crazy.
to work here, which is like, what a blessing because, we existed pre-COVID when trying to find remote work or a job that was a viable real work from home job pre-pandemic was hard. And so we were an awesome option and word got out and we were always flooded with applications. So it's a great problem to have because we get to sift through all those and really pick the cream of the crop, so we're only hiring 1 to 3% of those people in a given month. And so we're really created a process with which we're narrowing this scope of people down to like literally the 1% of people that we believe can be a great EA. So there's one-way video interviews, there's an actual interactive Zoom interview, there's skills assessment tests where we're actually having them take timed tests to prove their skills. And so we're kind of hitting everything and everything's graded and it's like pass, fail, and so the interview process is very extensive.
Yeah.
And we will have people say it's a little much, we will have people say like, wow, is a very robust interview process to even get in the door here. And I realize could be challenge for an applicant, but it's a gift to all of us on the other side that we've been able to really just be very particular about who we think can do a good job here.
I would even just add this. I don't think I'm saying anything I'm not supposed to say, but you hire so well that oftentimes the EAs are bought out from you guys. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
a contract in place and so forth, but that's just a testament to entrepreneurs loving what you're providing so much that they want more of it and to not share it. And
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
provide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And we're happy to say that it's,
Yeah.
it's not,
I did it. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. We're happy to say like, yeah, we have a clause in our contract that says you can buy your VA and hire them on for yourself if you want to. If we kind of look at it as like the perfect, we've done our job,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh my gosh, we found this client the perfect fit and they want to bring them onto their team full
100%.
time. So we view it as a win for everybody and it's winning for the VA, it's winning for the client, it's a win for us. We've done our job and so it's great. It's
Yeah.
a true testimony.
Heck yeah. So I know there's some other questions probably right now. Okay, so how can the EA or VA help me? Like with certain tasks. A lot of people in our community have podcasts, they do social media, obviously their inbox. What are some things or maybe misconceptions that you guys can help people with that people didn't even maybe realize?
Oh my gosh.
Where do I
Wow.
begin?
I know. I mean, I could just start rambling on so many things right now. So, here's the thing with assistants, right? Like we talk about it so globally as an assistant, but it it narrows down to so many things. I mean, you can have, to your point, a marketing assistant who's somebody who has a marketing administrative background, somebody that's helping you with social media, somebody that's helping you do graphic design, video editing, posting, managing email lists. Like a marketing assistant can do all those marketing related tasks, whether it's heavy on email or social or design. So all of that exists. Then you have like the true core executive assistant pocket where it's calendar management, email management, event prep, meeting prep, notes, action item tasking, travel planning, like all the typical, which is where we see the majority of our clients come in for that stuff. Then you have some that are helping do some like light invoicing and client engagement and client experience stuff. Then you have some that are supporting sales teams, like, hey, send out these proposals. Hey, send this contract out for us, that are helping assist sales and revenue leaders. So I think the summary of it all is like it is so fluid and can serve in many different areas and many different kinds of work, from an HR assistant to a sales assistant to a marketing assistant to an executive assistant to a financial assistant to a healthcare assistant. We've had doctors and healthcare, leaders who are leveraging an assistant. So I think the misconception is that, okay, it's just calendar, email, and travel. And it's just so much more than that. Like that's scratching the surface. But we do believe that's like the first place anybody should start.
Yeah. You know what another misconception is that working with you guys or hiring in that capacity is a cost. It actually pays,
Yeah.
right? Because what is the price of you getting your time back or you getting support?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say, like, what is your hourly rate? What is my hourly rate? What is an EA hourly rate? I mean,
Pretty
I
simple.
make more, right? So it's like, okay, so then I'm offloading and making money by having her do the work I used to be doing. So it's silly.
And also, look, there's something that's not really tangible. And that is, let's just say the day is done and you're spending an extra hour in the emails, sending the invoice, doing these things. Like maybe it only took you an extra hour, but did it? What about your energy? Right? That's out of your zone of
Yeah.
genius. Are you very excited to then go make that call that you had to make that actually grows the business after? Maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean, I just think that we should walk ourselves through a process that really helps us determine like what are the things I'm really good at, what should I be doing, and what are my boundaries around and my hard yeses and nos, and like live inside of that. So to your point, like, yeah, we could always file an expense report while you're sitting in bed at 9 p.m. watching TV or whatever if you want. But maybe you decide you'd rather be present with your family, spouse, loved one, or kid instead of filing an expense report. And so I just think like quality of life means knowing when to stop working, because transparently when you're running a business or have a high profile job, there's enough work to fill all the 24 hours in your day, and it's up to us to decide when we're going to stop, where the work stops,
Yep.
and where we're going to actually live our life, because we're going to put on this planet to just work around the clock. We've got other things to do too.
Yeah, this is awesome because I'm like playing ping pong. I'm gonna ask you questions about Belay for our audience, but also
Yeah.
asking you questions as a CEO. And one of the things that I experienced with you guys is the support aside from the actual VA that I was working with is so helpful and so nice. Like the people that maybe the managers,
Yeah.
whatever, that set us up and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's something I really noticed. And for me, really made a difference and went the extra mile. So I'm wondering, like, how important is culture for you over there? And what is something that you guys do to elevate the culture? Because everybody is just so helpful.
Yeah, I think first I would say, thanks for mentioning that support's been helpful. One of the things that really we kind of stumbled upon really early on, when we started the company back in 2010, is that we would have clients come on board and they knew they needed an EA, and we could find them a great EA, but people really struggle with delegation. They really struggle with, well, I have an EA, now what? I don't really know how to delegate, and I don't know how to like, it's new to a lot of people. So we knew pretty early on that we decided, which makes us different from a lot of our competitors, is that we were going to be a fully managed service. And so that every single client who came in here and every VA, they were going to be fully managed. You were going to have an account manager, which we hate that word. We call them client success consultants, because we believe their job is to make sure that you are successful leveraging your assistant, and that relationship is successful. We're giving you tips. We're holding you accountable to delegation. Sometimes we have client calls and we say, you are not delegating. We sometimes have to extract things from our clients to help them delegate. But we knew that was needed and necessary. So we kind of became this fully managed service company. And it's made a huge difference, I think, for our organization, for the assistants as well as the clients, for us to kind of have some oversight and really just provide that added value and to support people. So I'm glad to hear you say that that's been helpful for you. It's good for me to bring back to my team and share.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for sharing that. And then as far as like our internal team culture, we have mission, vision, values. We're very public about our mission, vision, values. We have integrated them into our organization, and we talk about them and use them all the time, because we swore, that they would not just be like words that are hanging on a wall in an office that we don't have because we're all remote. So we really did commit to putting them into action and creating principles that live inside the organization where they are seen. So, for example, I could give some examples. Like, one of our core values is gratitude. And so every time we have a team meeting, at the end of every single team meeting, we will have what we call snaps. You know, like Elwood's snaps. Come on. I'm legally blonde. Anyway, we have snaps where we just let people just come on and give shout outs to somebody else, like in another team, like, hey, thanks to the finance girl who helped me with this collection issue. Or thanks for this salesperson for, and we let the team just give each other snaps and gratitude. I'm like, okay, that is our core value of gratitude showing up in how we run the business, because every meeting is ended that way. And then we have other core values like that, like team, and we have a core value of vision, and we just make sure that those things are integrated into how we do business, and how we engage with each other. So, like for team, for example, we have an all team Slack channel where everybody who works here is on this one Slack channel, and we celebrate everybody's birthdays on there. We celebrate people's work anniversaries on there. And then every Friday, we have everybody post, if they feel like it, a high and low from the week, like what was awesome this week and what's a bummer. And what's crazy cool about that is over time, it's evolved to be a very personal thing where people share about their personal lives, and that's how we get to know each other. So somebody will share a high, like, my kid took their first step, or sometimes, people will share a low spot in their life, but it's how we engage and create team and camaraderie. And it's been an awesome way to integrate values into what it means to work at our company.
I love it. And when everybody's connected, then they're connected to the mission, which
Yeah.
means the overall company expands, which means
Yeah.
a lot more people. So it's all
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah. Yes.
Use the word integration there a couple times. I know that you love work because you said it on this episode. And I know that you don't really subscribe to this work-life balance thing. I don't think, neither do I. But you said work-life integration, which I love. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, I think that there's never really going to be, I mean, maybe everything's a balancing act, but I think it's like integration is more about being clear on what you are going to choose to allow into your life and what you are choosing to spend your time on. So I think that work, my husband has a saying, that we don't live to work, we work to live. And so, the first couple times when we were dating, he would say that, and I'm over here grinding and hustling and working way too many hours. And I'm like, no, I literally am living to work right now. And then I really had to get to the place where I'm like, no, I need to really flip that. It really needs to be the other way around. Like, but I also, to your point, I love what I do, but at what cost? At what cost do I love what I do? Because the truth is, um, you know, 60, 80 hours of me working is not healthy for anybody. It's not healthy for me. It's not healthy for the people on the other side of me. It's not healthy for my team. It's not healthy for my organization if I'm working that hard or burnt out or not thinking clear. So I think there's a very fine line between, you know, how you integrate work and life and do both at the same time.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. And also, I know there's another misconception that you can't love what you do. We just did a whole TED talk on this. And one of the stats that I saw when I was doing my prep was that only 20% of Americans actually have passion in the work that they do. That's very alarming, but I could also relate to it because near the end of my Wall Street career, I was really burnt out. So I was part of the other 80%. But you can and should love what you do, be connected to it, and unapologetically make a lot of money doing so. You just felt called to just share with people. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
I absolutely, I agree. And I have a core value. It's just a personal core value that I've always had. I actually don't even know why I have this core value, but I knew very early on that right out of college, when I got my first jobs, I knew the day I hated showing up to work was the day I was going to quit. That it meant so much to me. We spend so many hours of our lives working that it was going to be a core value of mine that I would not hate my job. I will leave the job. There's always another job. And I think a lot of people get stuck on the fact that there's nothing else they can do. It's so hard to make that decision, right? Like that leap of faith you took leaving Wall Street and that's a huge risk that a lot of people are not willing to take. But I'm with you. Like, I'm encouraging people. I'm like, take the risk. If you hate what you're doing, I promise there is something out there that you will love to do. I mean, that also doesn't mean you love it 100% of the time. There's good days, there's bad days, but the vast majority of the time, you like really enjoy working and you are cool and love Monday mornings, like then you're in a really great spot. But I think everybody can have that.
100%. Yeah,
Totally.
and people shouldn't settle. If you're even just thinking like right now, if you're getting a downloader in your head, like, I don't really love what I do. I kind of live for the weekends. Maybe don't blow it all up right now, but maybe just
Yeah.
say, is there something else I can give some energy to or try? Maybe even a hobby, or just see what else is possible. Don't have to settle.
Yeah, and I think that you might be able to evolve in the current role you have.
For
I
sure.
mean, maybe you don't love a certain part of the job, but maybe the job could become more. It's like talk to your boss and be like, I really love this part of my job, but not this so much. Like, what other opportunities do I have inside the organization? Or like, I think there's a lot to be said for that as well. Like, I also like to say, if you know, the door if the door doesn't open and there's not a door, like build one, build a door. And so there were so many times when I sat in roles or positions or had jobs throughout the years. I was like I'm working hard, I'm hustling, I'm doing this awesome, but it's okay, and so you just keep pushing towards the next thing. And there were times when work was disappointing. And I was like, oh, that didn't turn out the way I'd hoped, or somebody else got a promotion over me, or, you know, these things happen, but you just keep, pushing forward, looking for silver linings and like create the path and move with intention. If you do, like everything's possible.
Totally. I like use the word intention a lot. So why? Like be intentional about everything. Like do life on purpose. I know there's a lot of people that are just living reactive and robotic to an extent.
Yeah, totally. I think that intention is like uh can you hear my dog barking in
Yeah,
the
I love
background?
it.
Yeah,
It's
this is
probably
life, guys. Guys, this is
so
like life
authentic.
working from home. My dog barking because my husband's home from work and she's excited to see him.
And rightfully
Um,
so. It's probably going to trigger my pup to start going nuts.
I've had that happen before. And then there's two dogs on the other side of Zoom all barking at each other. Yeah, I mean, I just believe in creating like we can actually create the lives we want. And I think a lot of people think like it's kind of like they're just haphazardly going through life and just seeing what falls in front of them. Like, no, I feel like you can actually steer the ship a little bit. And that's what I think about intentionality is like if you make decisions, you can guide the path of your life and you don't just have to wait for things to come to you.
Totally. What does it mean, Tricia, to be a limitless leader?
Yeah, I think that that has a lot to do with it's like my delegation protocol. Hold on. That's like my delegation protocol. I think that, slam the door on the dog. I think that you are limitless for as long as you know how to set boundaries and allow others. And so, for as long as there's this control freakism part of you that ties you down, you may be stuck in a place or stuck doing work that maybe feels limiting. But I think as soon as you can create boundaries, figure out how to delegate, truly let go of things, hire great, teach great, live great, then you can truly become limitless. Like I really do believe that people could accelerate to a place that has no ceiling by their own doing because they've decided that to be the case. And I kind of really decided early on in my career that I was gonna live this limitless lifestyle, that I would not allow for a glass ceiling and I wouldn't let them to tell me, oh, but you're a woman, so that's not normal, or oh, you're right. Like there's this like when I was first really getting into the C-suite, it was like, well, there's only like 1% of women who are CEOs. Like, that's never going to happen for you. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll be the 1.1% that's going to become because I just don't believe in there being limitations on what's possible. But I
Mhm.
think people limit themselves more than anything else.
Totally.
And they put themselves in boxes they don't belong in.
100%. In fact, we just had an event in New York City a couple weeks ago, and we asked everybody, like, who are you? And what I've noticed that everybody's definition of who they are is so limited, right?
Mm,
Because it's really who they think they are or who they've been taught they are. as opposed to who they
Yeah.
really are, which is unlimited. And I'm just wondering, is spirituality something that's important to you? Because you have that type of consciousness where there's no limits. And typically I make that connection, maybe not, but I just want to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in a greater power. I believe in I believe the path for people is out in front of us. I believe things happen for a reason. It's how I like to think about negative things that cross our paths. Like everything is happening for a reason and it's being guided by the universe. And so without getting overly religious or spiritual, I do believe in something greater than what exists at the level of our humanity. And so I have faith in what's ahead of me. So sometimes we'll have things happen, even at work. We just had somebody. I mean, it's crazy. We just have a very young leader of ours on our team. She just got diagnosed with very aggressive cancer, and she's 30. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. But we try and look for like what is the positivity? What does this create that's positive, and how can we come around her and support her, and how can we help heal her and join her on the journey through this? And it's been amazing to watch a community of people come around in times like that, and lift people up. And it's times like that where I do think like we're here for more than just being coworkers or whatever that looks
Yeah,
like.
totally. Thank you for sharing that, sending healing vibes and good energy your guys' way. It's definitely tough, but it definitely helps to have community and culture for sure. I saw you say this, I think, on your social media, which I encourage everybody to follow as well. And something like success without time is just stress in a nicer office. And it's so funny. It reminds me of kind of what we were talking about earlier, where you're an entrepreneur, you're doing everything yourself, but you really, and if you can't leave and the business still runs, like you really just have a higher paying job.
Oh yeah. So I just don't I don't think you're successful if you make a lot of money and your personal life is in shambles. Like
Same
that was
thing.
something I actually posted today. It's like, oh, if like my life's in shambles and my kids can't stand me and I haven't talked to my parents in 10 years, but man, I'm making, a lot of money. Like to me, I knew that wasn't successful. And so I think t- success is more holistic. Success is more, I have goals, and this is something I learned. I didn't used to. I used to only have goals at work. I'm going to do X by X. I'm going to hit this quota. I'm going to sell this thing. I'm going to make this bonus, right? But then I was like, that does carry over. I've worked with some great people and I've worked with some great executive coaches who are like, what about the rest of your life? What's your goal for your marriage? What's your goal for your relationship with your kids? What's your goal for your fitness and your health? What's your goal for hobbies? All that stuff. And I'm like, oh, yeah, like life is so much more than just work. Why do we only have goals at work?
Yeah. It's about redefining what success means. And I love how you said that. Like you could be making money, but your the rest of your life's in shambles. That's not successful. Even like when I look back, no judgment because I did the best I can with what I knew. And when I knew more, I did better. But like towards the end of my Wall Street career, like I wouldn't call that successful because I wasn't really connected to what I was doing. I didn't love it. It wasn't really like helping the world in a big capacity. No judgment. Like I said, I'm just happy I found my
Yeah,
calling and so forth. But I think it's important for everybody to take a moment and redefine what success means to you. And it
I
should
think
be
that's
all the
great.
buckets, right? Fitness, spirituality, health, relationships. And yes, obviously unapologetically make a lot of money because you could do better things with it. I think it just amplifies your essence. But yeah,
Agreed.
yeah,
Yeah. I think that people get lost in the fact that it has to be one or the other, like you say. It's like, I'm going to have a wildly successful career or I'm going to have an awesome personal life, but I can't have both. And I just think that stigma that says, well, if you have a wildly successful career, you're obviously not, you're investing so much in your career that I'm sure your marriage is a mess or your family. And it's like, no, that doesn't have to be true.
yeah.
I think you could be successful in all the different areas of your life as long as create consistency and give dedicated resources to all the things equally.
Yeah, I love it. I know there's gonna be many people from our community that are gonna want to get involved and try to work with you guys. What is something maybe we could support them with? Like, what qualities should people be looking for in hiring a VA and so forth? Like, how do they know it's the best match for them?
Yeah, I would say, believe it or not, I mean, skills are very important. You want them being organized, you want them to be responsive, you want them to be professional, you want them to have used certain tools and have an understanding of some of the applications or things you want them to do. And you absolutely should source those types of things. Review the resume. What have they done in the past? All of that is very important. Being a great communicator is important. But I think where people might miss the mark on like the actual soft skills are really where things start either accelerating or falling apart. Because when you're working with an assistant, and you know this, it's like it's a very involved relationship. It's like a day to day, like back and forth. There's a lot of communicating going on. There's a lot. You really have to get along with this person, like this person. They have to really be of the mindset where their job is to serve you. Their job is to lead you. And that's a hard one too. It's like you don't want somebody passive waiting for you to delegate. You probably want somebody who's comfortable going, hey, I need you to do this thing because you're actually blocking me from helping you. And so I think somebody who is confident in that way and those soft skills really does matter.
I love it. Love it all. I think a good place to land the plane with this is part of your story, if we get vulnerable and personal, is that I believe you had a big aha moment when you kind of hit a little bit of burnout. I think you missed like a big experience. Maybe it was your daughter's first steps or something like that. And then you
Yeah.
had this like download. What was that like? And what really shifted for you? Because I know there's probably a lot of people that are experiencing that right now.
Yeah. I mean, I did everything wrong. I mean, I did everything we're trying to solve. Hold on.
The puppy is relentless, huh?
I mean, oh my God, she's hired.
What's her name?
Her name is Roxy,
Roxy, that's
and
awesome.
she's a 7 pound Cavapoo, but her weight does not determine her persistence and her
Clearly.
and her and her substantiating her territory at this
Well, but
moment.
my we have a
She is
puppy. He's a
she's
Shih Tzu, a killer Shih Tzu
oh
poodle. His name is
yeah.
Whiskey.
Oh my God, so
I know
cute.
he is so cute. Usually he's the one going nuts, so this is a little refreshing.
She's extra bad today. Like she's super bad.
He's
She's
hired.
definitely going to time out. Yeah, she's totally fired. Yeah, I apologize.
All good.
But
It's
I
all
know, yeah,
perfect.
like I said, I mean, I overdid it. I worked too much. I mean, before I came to Belay, I was a district manager for a retail company. And I had, 100 plus employees working for me, and I traveled all over, and I really liked my job. And I had my first daughter, Riley, and took off 6 weeks and went right back to work, and I'm traveling and traveling and traveling. And I really liked my job. Cool job. But I'm at the time I lived in New York. I'm sitting in rush hour traffic both ways. I have to leave at 6 in the morning. I'm not back till 7 at night. She goes to bed at 8. So at this point, I'm getting like an hour a day with my daughter, and weekends. And sometimes you work on weekends when you're in
That's
retail.
not success.
No. And so her babysitter slash nanny, called me one day when I was working, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited. Guess what? She took her first steps. I can't even believe it." And she called me to celebrate this moment, and I just like lost it because I missed it. And it was like a really big moment for me when I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm seeing her an hour, 90 minutes a day and weekends, and she's my daughter. And there's got to be a better way to do this. There's
Gotta
got to
be a
be a
better
better
way.
way. And so I literally went into this job that I was at for 10 years, and I loved it, and I quit. And my boss was like, "What?" And I was like, "You can't do retail remote." And they weren't going to let me work part-time. I was a district manager. So I left that company. I had no idea what I was going to do, but I just knew I was going to do one thing, and that was going to be find a job and create a career that allowed me to have the best of both worlds.
Amazing. And so you did.
And so I did. I built it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
made it. I made it possible.
Yeah. I love that you had to have that experience to then create that vessel. Is there a
Yeah.
better way? And even if you just ask the question, I mean, every vessel has to be fulfilled in some capacity, but just opening that desire, now you begin thinking more solution oriented.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't get it right in the beginning. You
That's
know,
the thing.
I stumbled a few times, I screwed up a few times. I, work from home, but sometimes even too much from home. So I had to figure out how to create boundaries at home. It's been a journey.
Sure.
Sometimes when you work from home, it's hard to shut off work because your laptop's always with you
Totally.
versus leaving an office, like you leave the work behind you. So sometimes remote work, I
Different
had to go through
energy.
yeah, I had to figure out what it meant to shut down work when my work is in my home.
Yeah.
And so that was a whole nother.
Actually, do you have a tip for that? I'm sure some of
I mean, yes. It takes a lot of time. Like you have to have a start and end time. Like that, if I was only going to give one tip to a remote worker, it would be have a start and end time to your workday. It sounds so simple, but actually do it. So don't just say you're going to do it, but like literally pretend it's the office. Like I'm in my home office now, right? I come in here at whatever time in the morning, depends on the day, 8, 9 o'clock, and I will walk out of this office at 5, and I will not work or pick up work again until I'm back in here at 9. Like I literally treat
non-negotiable.
it that way. It has to be non-negotiable. It has to be.
Yeah. Good for you. That's a lot of discipline right there.
It's yeah. That the biggest thing is you have to be willing to hold the boundary.
Yeah.
It's easy to say you're going to have a boundary, but actually to do it, you
Totally.
have to. It requires a
Yeah.
lot of discipline for sure.
Like people
Yeah,
say, knowledge is power, but is it? It's potential power.
it's potential.
Yeah.
Action. Leadership is not words. It's action.
And execution.
Action and
Yeah.
execution. That's
This is
right.
awesome. I have a lot
Yeah.
in common with you, and
Yeah.
I totally admire your journey. Obviously, Belay speaks for itself, but just the mindset
Thank
and
you.
everything you've been through, it's awesome. Before we
Thank you.
land the plane with a little rapid fire, I just want to reiterate we get pitched by brands every single day to partner, obviously, with a huge podcasting community, the book, and all that stuff. And we say no 99.9% of the time because you can't buy us. I really have to feel connected or aligned with the product or service. And I just want to reiterate, we use Belay, we love them. And also something that's very important is the people at the company that you deal with, like
Mhm.
Tricia, but or like the support system. They just go the extra mile and they really care, for lack of better words. They actually care. In this day and age, sometimes that's rare. So that's why we put
Yeah.
the link in our show notes, guys. If you're even just curious what it would look like or how what else you could delegate, highly encourage. Don't take my word for it. Just test it out and see for yourself.
Thank you.
Um, Before we land, I know people are also going to want to get a little bit more of you. What's the best way to like stay involved in your movie and so forth?
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I love to connect with people on LinkedIn, so you can look for me, Tricia Sciortino, on LinkedIn. And I also have my own personal website, triciasciortino.com. You can find me at, but LinkedIn is where I'd love to connect with, anybody who's looking to stay abreast. I also just started releasing a new newsletter called The Limitless Leader. And so I'm sending out kind of bi-weekly like tips and tricks, things I've learned, things to try, mindset shifts, and some really great resources on keeping those boundaries we've talked about. So I'm really big on boundaries because I believe the boundary creates the limitlessness opportunity.
Beautiful.
So that's a little bit more about me.
I love that. Yeah, it's a good connection. Okay. Little rapid fire, maybe one or two answers. We'll land the plane. Are you ready for me?
Ready? Let's go.
Favorite movie?
The first thing that came to mind was The Matrix. I mean, back in the original days. Phew,
Forget
I'm
about it.
old.
Like a documentary. I love it. Okay. Favorite guilty pleasure?
Oh, ice cream.
Same.
Love
What
ice cream.
flavor?
I mean, half baked is my favorite, Ben and Jerry's.
Wow. Sounds so
Yours?
smooth. I'm usually a chocolate type of cat.
Okay, well, it's chocolate fudge brownie and cookie dough
Love cookie dough.
vanilla. Cookie dough and chocolate fudge brownie together is half baked. It's
Now I'm
disgusting.
really hungry for that.
It's really good.
That's
It's awful. You got to keep it not in the house.
totally. Okay. Favorite workout?
Oh, probably yoga. Good yoga session.
Favorite book or maybe one that's really made an impact on you?
Oh, biggest impact would be John Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I've done that book and that workbook, I don't know, every other year for the last 15 years. I mean, I actually use it to teach our leaders here. So that's been a big, big, big one for me.
I spoke on stage with John. He's great. Legend. Yeah.
Legend. He's a legend. Literally,
Yeah.
he's the
Sure.
best.
Okay. A morning ritual essential.
Oh, I turn on my music and I have a cup of tea.
Not coffee.
No, yeah, I don't like coffee. I'm a tea person.
With
Yeah.
caffeine or no?
English breakfast tea, caffeinated. Yep, English breakfast tea. But I'm not going for the caffeine. I'm going for the vibe with the coffee, with the
Totally.
tea. Like
Yeah,
it's just like,
it's a vibe.
it's a vibe. My cup of tea and my music. I always have music going on in the house. Like
Uh,
the first, I wake up in the morning and I'm telling Alexa to start playing music, and she will play music until I'm done. So she's playing actually now throughout the house.
That's amazing. I totally calculate what you mean by the vibe. I personally like a cup of coffee, but it's not really for the caffeine. It's just there's something spiritual and beautiful that's
Mhm.
happening. It's warm. It's the morning. Ah,
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes. Yep, I agree.
Two more. Your spirit animal.
Oh gosh. I mean, I don't know. A dragon, a lion.
Both great. Both
I
great.
mean, I'll go with the lion. I mean, I usually say lion.
Okay. And the most adventurous thing that you've done lately.
Oh, I took my first ever surfing lesson.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm 53 and my kids surf and I've always wanted to. I messed around when I was young,
Yeah.
but I took my first ever surfing lesson and it's hard.
It's so funny. You said I did that in Hawaii a couple years back, and
Yeah,
it's much harder than it looks. It's very
it's
challenging, but it's also awesome because it's harder differently than you might think. Like you're doing a lot of
right.
paddling and stuff.
The paddling,
I
that
know.
you just nailed it on the head.
Yeah,
The paddling out
I
was the
know.
hard part.
I know.
I was like, oh, I didn't consider this.
Same.
So
It looks much
yes,
more glamorous, like just doing the waves, but it's a lot of paddling.
it's a lot of paddling. And I was like, oh, okay, I've got to work on upper body before we can try that one again.
This is great stuff. Happy to be partnered with you guys. Happy to have you on. Hang up for 1 second. I want to kick you after. Tricia, thank you so much for
Thank
stopping by
you.
today and dropping these priceless, juicy nuggets.
Thank you.